The Lewisham East by-election is really heating up, and I think the Lib Dems are going to do much better than I originally thought. So these are my new predictions for the Lewisham East by-election. The Lewisham East by-election is really hotting up. Things have really changed over the last couple of weeks since I first gave you my predictions of what was going to happen in the election. It's going to be held on the 14th of June, which is, as of recording, 6 days from now. And I gave you my predictions, and I thought that Labour would win. I still do. But I also said the Tories would come second. Then I said For Britain third, Lib Dems fourth, UKIP fifth, Greens 6th, Women's Equality 7th, Christians 8th, Democrats and Veterans 9th, Young Persons Party 10th, Independent 11th, Libertarian 12th, Monster Raving Loony 13, and Radical Party 14th. But I've changed my mind. I think things are going to work out differently now. And let me tell you why. I think the Lib Dems are putting in a major play for Lewisham East. And Corbyn's vision on Brexit isn't clear, and that's important in Lewisham East because between 60–70% of people voted Remain. So it's instantly tough for parties like Democrats and Veterans, UKIP, For Britain, and the Tories who want Brexit. Obviously, the Tories want it less than the other parties I mentioned, but still, it's going to be hard for those to win this, or to even do well, actually. So the Remain vote is really important in this election. I think it's probably less about local issues and more to do with Brexit and Remain. The Lib Dems are putting in a play for a people's vote, they call it, which is another referendum about Brexit. They don't think the first people's vote was enough. They want another one. And if that goes wrong, then they'll probably want another one after that. But they've put in a huge play for this. And the fact that Corbyn can't make up his mind whether he's Leave or Remain is definitely playing in the Lib Dems' favour here. They've got a very clear and strong message. Their candidate, Lucy Salick, is going around the constituency saying, if you vote for me, I will vote for the Lord's amendments on Brexit, and I will vote for a people's vote, a new referendum on Brexit. That's a strong and convincing offer for people who want Remain, people who don't like democracy. Vince Cable, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, has been in the constituency a lot. I think about 6 or 7 times. And he goes out and he's signing big pledges in the street, and he's at the campaign office handing out cake. Literally, that's what they're doing. They're ploying people in there with cake. But Corbyn made a visit. It was very brief. It only happened the other day, and he did it on Blackheath, which is right at the top of the constituency. And it's just a massive common. It's just a huge field. And he just stood in the middle of the field, away from the voters, and did a quick video with Janet Davey, who wasn't his choice for candidate, and then buggered off. And that was that. I've seen online on the Lewisham East hashtag Labour canvassers talking about how they don't talk about Corbyn on the doorstep. So obviously Corbyn isn't winning them any favour because of Brexit, which is why now I think the Lib Dems are going to come second. And it could be narrow. It could be narrow. Interestingly, the Lib Dems phone bank script has been leaked, and it shows how they're manipulating voters. So they call up, they ask people how they vote, and if they give them an answer, they've got a script of what they say. So if it's a Labour voter, they say Labour voters are telling us that they'll support the Lib Dems to send Corbyn a message on Brexit. That's what they say. Or they might say many Conservative supporters are saying they'll vote Lib Dem to beat Labour because they know the Conservatives can't win in Lewisham East. This is all fake. I mean, this is all... First off, Labour voters aren't telling them that and Conservative supporters aren't telling them that. Let's face it, they're just saying that. They know they can get away with saying it. But secondly, it's manipulative, and I think it's wrong, and it's what they do in their leaflets. When they say, they show a bar chart and say, oh, well, the Conservatives can't win here, so you've got to vote Lib Dem. It's manipulative. Who are the Lib Dems to say that the Conservatives can't win? Who are they to say that? You know, I think this is something the Electoral Commission needs to look into, actually. They've got rules against treating, which is paying people. They should have rules against lying, actually. They should have rules against flat-out lying and manipulating voters. I mean, they did the same thing with the newspapers they've been handing out, which is what I did a video on the other week, where the leaflets actually just look like magazines. And it says, Lucy Salick, the woman tipped to be our next MP. Tipped by who? She isn't tipped by anybody to be the next MP. No Buckies are saying she's going to win it. No politicians are saying she's going to win it. Even the Lib Dems aren't saying that she's going to win it. So she isn't tipped by anyone to be the next MP. And again, that makes goes back to my point. I think the Electoral Commission should do something about the fact that the Lib Dems are lying. But unfortunately, all these lies work. And the Lib Dems have been the most prominent in this campaign. I think they could beat the Tories because of Brexit. And the sheer amount of canvassing that's been going on for the Lib Dems is just massive. It was brilliantly summed up in this tweet here by somebody called Adrian Mitchell. Lucy Salick is genuinely haunting me. If I open the post, she's there. Go on social media, she's there. Read a news article, she's there. I'm not voting for you. Very funny. But, you know, Salick really has been everywhere. She's been at auction houses. She's been coaching football. She's even posed with snakes. And she's been promising voters that she'll cancel Brexit, basically. Another interesting story in this election is the battle between UKIP and For Britain. Now, For Britain started when Anne-Marie left UKIP after losing the leadership contest, after high-up people in UKIP, Nigel Farage and other leaders, referred to Anne-Marie and her supporters as racists and Nazis. So she set up For Britain, and they have actually battled it out before once in a ward in the council elections earlier this year, and UKIP, For Britain actually beat UKIP then. But that was a ward, and it's much easier to win these wards with inspiring local messages. This is a by-election, and what's going to be really interesting about this is, I think For Britain could still beat UKIP on this. Now, UKIP's been getting more attention than For Britain because they've had this leaflet go out that says "Stop the Carnage," KHAN, and the media's been talking about that, and of course they've had Channel 4 out reporting there, and UKIP's had coverage on Channel 4, but For Britain hasn't. So UKIP's definitely got the bigger brand, more recognisable. But what we've seen is when Anne-Marie stood for UKIP in 2015, she came third. In the 2017 election, UKIP came significantly further down the list than third. The vote share was dropped significantly. So it doesn't look like UKIP realistically are going to do much better this time. So the battle now is, can For Britain inspire enough voters who previously voted for Anne-Marie to go out and vote for her again? If For Britain beats UKIP, that's significant because it means a smaller party has beaten a bigger party with infinitely more resources, maybe not these days actually, but infinitely more brand recognition. However, if UKIP beats For Britain, less of an interesting story because, as I say, there are more established brands. So it will be interesting to see how things fare with the smaller parties in Lewisham. So there's two battles here. There's the battle between the two patriotic parties, and there's the battle between Labour and actually, no, not even Labour. It's the battle between the Lib Dems and the Tories of who's going to come second. With the Lib Dems fighting hard in Lewisham, with the Lib Dems handing out fake newspapers that pretend that their candidate is tipped to be the next MP, with the Lib Dem candidates being out on the street every waking moment of every waking day, with a campaign office filled with cake and loads of videos going out online, loads of material with Lucy Salick's smiling face on it. With them really putting this much effort in, I think it's changed the dynamic here. That combined with the fact that Lewisham East is a Remain constituency and the Tories are not a Remain party, or at least they're not meant to be. So here are my new predictions for Lewisham East. I think Labour's going to come first, but with a significantly reduced majority, with the Lib Dems coming second. Then I think it will be the Tories, simply because the Tories are one of the big parties. And then fourth, I think it's possible that For Britain might do it. Then I think it will be UKIP, just because they've got more of a brand recognition. And then I think it will be Greens, although I am toying with the idea of UKIP and Greens switching. Maybe Greens would come fifth and UKIP sixth, who knows? Then I think the Women's Equality Party will come seventh, because who wants to vote solely on women's equality unless they're talking about Sharia? I'm not interested, because women have got lots of rights in the UK. In fact, arguably they have more, but that's for another time. The Christians, I think, will come eighth. Democrats and Veterans, I've not seen a massive campaign from them, so I think they'll come ninth. Libertarians, the candidate seems very nice, but again, I've not seen a huge campaign, and I don't think libertarianism is something that's really on the voters' minds. 11th, I think the Young Party. 12th, Monster Raving Loony. 13, Radical, and 14th, Independent. The Independent candidate for the 14th seat appears to be campaigning for access to legal information, and I don't think he's really put in a massive amount of resources into his campaign. So that's where I think we are. Labour win, Lib Dem second, and Tories beaten to third. And who knows? Let's keep an eye on the battle between the two patriotic parties. Let's see whether For Britain beats UKIP or UKIP beats For Britain. If you like that and want to see more, remember to like and subscribe and download the new Rebel app from the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store.